your time comes, don't postpone it. When others down and out, you don't condone it. Truth be told, yourself is your toughest opponent. When your moment comes, grab hold and own it. Never let go, stand tall and hold tight. Overcoming obstacles is the objective in life. Doubters all the night, and onto them you shine bright. Cause inside your head, on goes the light. Ignite, plan for intuition upon the stars in the night that glisten. To you they listen, to be you is something I'm wishing. When your time comes, don't postpone it. When others down and out, you don't condone it. Truth be told, yourself is your toughest opponent. When your moment comes, grab hold and own it. When your time comes, don't postpone it. When others down and out, you don't condone it.
Good morning, everyone.
When your moment comes, grab hold and own it. Never let go, stand tall and hold tight. Overcoming obstacles is the objective in life.
We'll be starting in about just a minute. Good morning, Alex. Good morning, Hamza. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Welcome everyone to our Sunday charts, and where we're going to go through a number of tickers that members have requested, let's go ahead and jump right into it. The format of the reviews is that I take a list of the requested tickers and a couple of the ones that I want to look at, and we go over those. I try to keep the list in alphabetical order since the stream is recorded, and if someone wants to go back and review, they can hopefully find the ticker of interest just by going in order and hunting it down. But because it's in alphabetical order, hopefully it'll be easier for folks. And yeah, we have a lot of tickers, so let's get going. Hopefully we can get this done in 45 minutes or less. Okay, a reminder of what I do for my daily review. For the way I have the chart set up is that on the left I have a 15-minute chart. And on the right, I have a daily chart with the light blue line here being the 50-day moving average, and the thicker blue line here being the 200-day moving average. And in this particular case, I have a trend line that I drew a while back for SPY that she seems to be holding, as wherever it gets to that point, it likes to yank. So the hey Iceman, hey Ram, hey Dad and daughter. Okay, so let's take a look at SPY. So here's something that's kind of interesting. You know, I've been very cautious going into this mid to end of March, after, especially starting in the late February. Going, hey, end of March, we might start seeing some selling because of the dip buying and tax savings that's happened way back when. And I'm starting to become a little less sold on that, but and mostly because of this. If you look at the volume, right, on SPY from way back when we had this big flush out last year, and we hit this 250 level. Look at the volume right here, and then look at the volume here. So in once we got into May, June, right? And the fascinating thing is this level right here had some nice volume spikes, 320, 330, and that time frame was actually, September, October time frames. And so because of this volume, the volume that we had here, and now if you look, we're actually kind of, at least in the last little bit, we're kind of been going higher on more volume. And so this 390 is very, very, very key. The Yeah, I definitely think. Hang on, sorry guys, I'm gonna just have to mute my phone. Keep getting a bunch of um, beeps on it. Okay, so because of this, I still think it can happen. I still think we can have a big dump, but it's we're gonna have we'll have to play it by ear. I think this 390 level is going to be pretty key. I definitely don't think we're out of the woods for the upside. Like I don't trust that we'll have, it's going to just be easy. But let's see, right? Like, because if you look at this technically, just in theory, we've bounced off this. Every time it does this, it goes back up to this line right here. This time it was a little bit more difficult and it came down. So what we don't know is how does this week shape up, right? Does this 397, 396 area turn into resistance, a lower high, and then we break 390 with all this volume? And then if so, then we do get that late March, early April flush out maybe. If we continue to hold, right, because of this bounce in here and everybody getting short, they may have trapped a bunch of people, right? Because everybody, I mean, I was totally like going, okay, it's time for a shit show. And then we saw how things moved or turned around between Thursday and Friday. So now that's the key, right? We need to see, does this 396, 398 level turn into resistance here, or do we continue higher? At the moment, I'm inclined to say that we're going to at least 404, possibly up as much as 410 this coming week. And that's just me just saying, hey, here's what the technically what this is setting up to do is to get to that 404, 405, 410 area this week. And then maybe if we hit that quickly, we flush back. So the key levels to watch, in my opinion, is this the 390. Let's actually go from we'll go from here, and then we'll do the downside from the upside. This 396, 398, and then estimating between let's just say 408 and 410 up here. And then for the downside, if you recall all that price action, it's the 390, use 391, 390.50 right here. And then we have the 386. Let's zoom out a little bit, and you can see here we have this 386 area from before. We have then a little bit of 384, but really, if that breaks right here, you can see this 384. If that cracks again, then I would be expecting us to go down to this 378 area, test the 370. We have a little bit of volume here at 368, decent volume, and then it's actually this break of the 368 that will probably bring some acceleration down into 360, 350, right? So that's what to watch out for in case this week we have something crazy and dumps and breaks. If this breaks here on this 367 level, that could trigger a fast drop for 1,000 points. Or 100 points, however you want to look at it. So that's anyways the upside levels and the downside for how SPY may play out. So I would say cautiously looking for upside right now, and then any big gap that we might get, I'm looking to get short. All right, let's keep going. Next ticker we have. Okay, the first one we're going to do is AMD. Okay, look at this craziness. So we had the consolidation. We had a flush out, possible double bottom off the 75 right here. from this. It's also potentially a higher low from a triple bottom off of the 74. If we do get a dip again down here, 76.50 or even a 77, it's not a bad risk reward to take a starter long, probably risking to 76.50 here as the first for the first attempt, assuming we do have a dip and rip. And then under 76.50, I would probably be looking to see how it reacts to 75 again. But as long as it holds this, I kind of like the risk reward for the long, especially at 75. I mean, you got 1 point of risk for probably 10, 20, 25, 30 points of upside. So, so the levels from below, from where we're at, 76.50, 75, 74, and then if 74 cracks, then we got some, it can get pretty ugly. I would probably expect 60, we'd get some action right here down at 70, and then if that kind of goes, we have gap fill down here to 62, and then down to $59,660 area for us to come down this. So this break right here, I'm actually going to put an alert down here at 74. I'll do it at 74.80. Create an alert, and if it goes at or below this level, go short. Go short. Start. Add on break of 74. Targets 70, 68, and then 60 and 55. So all I'm doing is going through the chart is I'm creating alerts for myself that just has you can see here that it's just prepped, right? So I'm saying, hey, if it comes here, put this under, pay attention to it. All right, so that's AMD. That's for the downside. Now let's see for the upside. So there's been some chip manufacturers that have been rallying and making some highs. So I don't know the history behind AMD's drop. I have to go look back and look at the ER from this. But assuming semis and chips lead and they continue to run, AMD should get some love. It does have an earning at the end of April. You can see coming right here. And so the levels above would be this 80, this 200-day moving average. We want to see that cross. And then if that does, then we might get a fast move up into 85 at the 50 moving average. And then once it can clear this 85, you can see how volume thins up here. And once it can clear this 75, this 85, it can start grinding. And the next major level I would look for is 92. Right here, 92, 95, and then the 100 plus move. But decent risk reward here for a long, in my opinion. Maybe take a starter, add if it crosses VWAP. I mean, not VWAP, crosses the 200-day moving average, and then ride it up. That could be one way to trade it. Okay, that's AMD. Let's move on. Apple. Okay, again, similar charts. We have that flush out. We have this basing action here off the 119 level. Nice rip. Wow. Just realizing this, the 120 calls on this must have gone nuts. Probably like a 10, 15, 20 bagger, possibly, on Friday. Missed that. Anyways, so for Apple, there's basing right here. Got to keep an eye if things start to rally, then and it comes out of this 124. It's really kind of thick right here. So the interest for me is really to see it clear this 124 area with some volume, break out higher, and then want to move toward this 129 on the 50-day moving average. And if you can get back over there, then it gets back to the upside. So key support 119. the 200 down here, 116. Let's use 116.80. And then if let's see, then the next major that we'd have to really be paying attention to is, I'd say, if this if 112 breaks, we likely see 110, and then if 110 109 breaks, then we got shit show down into 95, 98. That's the downside, and then upside is what we talked about earlier. That 128, then 135. Okay, so that's Apple. Don't know if there's actually going to be a catalyst for it to move this week. BA, nice flush out down here, 232, double bottom. Nice rally off the Dreamliner news, dipped, pulled back, tested this 241 support on Friday. So now we got to see if it holds and if it can clear back over this 248, 251 level. It could get back into the grind for the upside. We'll have to pay attention to how the reopening stocks or the other tickers are doing, airlines, and for that upside. I do think that this is eventually going to head back over 300, but it may need to consolidate a little bit more before it starts doing that. So watch these key levels from, I think the same ones are pretty accurate, say 240, 241 right here, and that 230. And then if it breaks this, if it does break, well, actually, let's do this. We had one dip here. We have the second drop. The question is now, do we have a third one or do we make a higher low? We need to kind of establish a higher low, which we don't know if this is it. And if it does, then starts going back up, then I think we get that upside. But if this is just, it's going to do a third wave, a break of this 233 will probably bring 220 quickly. Right. And so if it does that, flushes 220, then I'd love a long right here. I think it's a decent risk reward. So let's take a look. Right. We'll see how this plays with the key levels right now. 230, this 233, 231, 240, and 250, 251 for right here. And then for the upside, then we'll be looking, it'll probably blow right through 255 is my thinking, if it starts going. So I would actually look at maybe 260, 265, and then 280 to 300, 320. Okay. That's BA. Let's look at Mike. The volume study is called a volume profile. It's just the default settings. Okay, so after BA, we got BIDU. Okay, so guys, this is going to be this will be interesting. I mean, this hit right into the 200 moving average, missed it by like maybe 3 points. And this is crazy volume. So the kind of drop that BIDU did in this last week, and especially on this particular day, was very unnatural. $10 billion drop or liquidation. It's not something that happens every day. And so now there is, I'm going to make, let's not take up our time on this, but let's go quickly through this, and I'll have to make a video about my thoughts on what may be going on here. But let's take a look. Okay, technically for the charts, this 185, if it happens to dip again, is a decent risk reward. But overall, I think long side from here off this bounce and this volume. 185, 195 are decent areas to be looking for longs. Then we got to see this 203, 204 level and see what happens with this right here. So we had a big rip. It kind of dipped again. Right. This was just like an overshoot to the downside, an overshoot to the upside. And now we got to see what people decide to do on Monday, right? Does it push 215, 225, and then continue lower and retest this right here, or does it come, fail, dip 190, 195, and then or 200, and then start grinding higher? Because of this volume and how this all kind of moved, it's going to be a little more tricky. We're going to have to see how pre-market and the action on Monday is to kind of see if this firms up. But in theory, this is, somebody would ask me in THT where the no-brainer buys were, and I think I had said the 185, 180 level were kind of like the no-brainer place to go long for risk reward. And we kind of got that. So now the question is, does this continue? So the key levels from here, let's take a look. We see some volume right here in this 190, 195 area. I think those are good risk rewards, potential long entries off of higher lows. And then if it can get back up over this 205, then we'd be looking for upside back into 225, 226. And then we'll have to see right here, because that seems like pretty decent support right here. And then if that clears, we're looking at this 242, 240 area to be tested. And then I would expect this to 50-day moving average to, by the time it gets there, I'd expect this to pull to maybe get down to 250 to 260 area. So that's where I would be targeting for the upside, is that 225, 226, 230, then the 242 area, and then finally the 260. And so it could rip up there pretty quickly, and then I would, if it does get here very fast, I'd be looking to probably for a short, because of just a fast move, and get some profit taking and have another dip, because people are going to need to figure out what's going on with this ticker, right? Like, what started the selling here? This was pretty clear to me, but what triggered all of this, and that, what's going on with the Chinese regulation, the delisting risk, and actually just tighter controls in China possibly. So just definitely created some fear. All right, so that's BIDU. Now, I guess on the flip side, say that BIDU does break, right? Say it does break this 185 again. What happens? If it breaks 185 again, we'll probably go back and retest this 176. I would possibly even think that they, if this 170 breaks, this 200-day moving average, it will likely give back this whole run, right? And BIDU would be coming back into the 125 to 140 level. It's just, no one's going to want to hold, right? But this is a huge discount off recent highs. And so people are definitely willing to take a risk off this level. It's basically a 50% discount off the 350 down here almost, at the 180, 175 area. But maybe they want to bring it down to 140. So we'll have to see. Though there's opportunity if this breaks. We get a huge opportunity down here. And then if this can hold and build, then we have an opportunity for the upside here. So definitely something we want to pay attention to during the week. Okay, so CHWY. Yeah, folks, because of the limited time, I'm only going through the charts that were requested from THT members. We have a huge list of tickers to get through. Okay, CHWY. So let's take a look. So good consolidation here. If this breaks right here on the 76, we'll probably hit the 73 pretty easily. And then if the earnings is really bad, I wouldn't be surprised to see a quick slam between 60 and 68 down here in this consolidation area. And then if that really they start selling, then we could even come all the way down into 50. See this big volume spike here. And this, we'll see this 56. Let's take a look what's going on here on the left. So they do have earnings. They're reporting on the 30th. So that's the downside risk down here. Break of this, it'll probably then, you can see this consolidation and chop into this area. Probably come down this spot right here. And then possibly get a bounce. So just really going to have to see what this earnings is. If this holds, right, if this continues to hold in base ahead of the ER, there's a decent chance that this has a run, a bounce, right? So it's not a bad risk reward to get long, risking on 76, risking maybe versus 75. In this, actually even below 70, 77, 78 area, and risk to these lows for a possible bounce. Maybe it bounces a few points ahead of ER back into 80 to 85 if there's some belief that their earnings is going to be good. Okay, so downside, we're looking for on a crap ER, probably the 67, 60, and then I'd say 55. That's the downside. And then if their ER is good, this resistance you can see right here is down at here at 87, 88. And if it's a really good, then we're looking for a run up into 95 to 100, 95 to 102. Okay, Alex, I think that was for you. I hope that answered your questions. Okay, so next we have cost. See how Costco's doing. I haven't looked at this chart in a little bit. Wow, retail. This is a nice flush after ER. Rally, dip, and continued. It's crossed the 200 and the 50. So this definitely looks, I mean, this does look set up for upside. It's testing this previous support right here at this 252. It'd be nice to get, and there's some resistance in volume, 252, 256. It'd be nice to get a pullback if we can get a pullback and test the 200 moving average or in 50 down here at 242, 243. And maybe even just a little flush if that does come back into 340. And then reclaim up here. So it'd be nice to see how we did this big move. It'd be nice if it did here, pulled back, maybe right here, then reclaim, and then for a solid then grind up higher. That's what I would like to see. But levels wise, I would say the key levels we want to pay attention to are this 334, 339 right here. Then this the 200 down here at 343. And then for the upside, we're looking at 253, and 253, yeah, it'll probably go through that. There's 261 for the upside next. 261, you can see this right here, previous support, it turned into resistance. And then the bigger picture move then would be down into this 370 to 375 range for the upside. And then if we're having crazy just run, then we have all the upside after that 375. Okay, so that's cost. Definitely keep an eye on a dip. It's run 30 points in the last week, it looks like. So it'd be nice to just get a pullback, and it looks like it does like to give this a little bit of range. So if we can get a 8-point drop, maybe test, or 8 to 10 point dip for to test the breakout or the move over the 200, that'd be a good risk reward, I think, for a long. Okay, cost. EDU. And just as a reminder, these are, an analysis for what I'm thinking of or how I might trade something. Again, this is not financial advice. It's me going over how I look at the charts and think the what areas that are of interest for me. Okay, EDU. So this is a China name that also got hammered, and you can see this big dump, big thing, big rip. You can see this drop right here. Heavily shorted name. I think it was an overdone flush out, or let me phrase that. This was a huge opportunity for anybody who's been short for a long time to be able to lock in profits. We just need to see what happens from here, right? I'm kind of thinking this might go a little bit sideways. Maybe it gets a little bit of chop, dip and rip and chop around between probably this, maybe between 1350 and 15. But if it does clear 15, it could do a quick pop into 16 to 1650 and maybe even back up on 17 on a short squeeze. So watch that 15 level. Let's get rid of this. Okay. That's from a long time ago. I think I must have drawn it from well over a year ago. I never looked at this chart. Okay, so TAL, same thing as EDU and GSX, all in that whole batch of China names that got wrecked. So kind of need to see how things want to play out. Again, dip and rip. If it does clear this level right here, what is it, 57? Then we're looking for gap fill back up into 59.60 and likely hit 62. $62 to $65. It'll probably want to do some this. Again, heavily shorted name. Now, if it stays heavy, pushes, and it fails, they can slowly work its way back to 50 and further. So I think there's going to need to be some. I think these were no-brainer buys at this flush out point right here. It was a great risk reward, right? Because you're just basically buying off this long-term support from a year ago. What has to happen now is figuring out what happened, right? Like, why was this just a liquidation sale, fire sale that caused the drop, or was it something more or something else that's coming down the pipe in China that people are saying, hey, we need to. It doesn't make sense to hold these names. So that's what we don't know what's going on, but. The key levels then is after the 64, 65 is the 67.50, and then a rip back up into the 200 at 72 on a squeeze. So EDU and I jumped ahead on TAL. Sorry about that, guys. FNKO. Let me get back to that. Get back into our alphabetical. Okay, so this NFTs, these aren't, I don't believe this has options, but the NFTs are kind of going a bit, oh no, FNKO does have options. Now, wait, hang on, that doesn't make sense. Yeah, no, it does, okay. So, anyways, the NFTs have grabbed a lot of attention in recent days, weeks, and so we don't know where this goes from here. Like for this, we had very little volume here between this 12 and 14, but look at this volume. Look at this volume that came in that drove it up into 20s, and the volume here on this crazy spike day, and then volume's dropping off, right? So we need to see what happens with this ticker, right? If this 18 continues to hold, this will eventually probably go much higher. FNKO. If 18 breaks, probably not a bad risk reward for a short to have it test 16, and then if the NFTs just lose their luster quickly, then break of this 16 and it'll fade back down here. But as long as it continues to be in the news and everything, I'd say watch where they're buying. You can definitely see the 18 to 19 area is being bought. There's some support here. And it may not be a bad risk reward for more upside if, again, NFTs continue to get their attention and love and buying. So 18, 19, so is key level 16 on the downside and then down into the 12, 13 area. And then for the upside, clearance of this 21 will likely bring this 24, 25, and probably I would assume 30, if I was to estimate, probably around 32 to 40. Let's see. So something that's been going on lately is you have these doubles. This dip, 12 went to 24. So dip, in theory, we could either see 16, which goes to 32, or this 18 support double to 36. Just something that seems to be kind of the way things are moving right now. So let's see if that's what happens coming. Yeah, Ben. The delisting, there is that risk and fear, but what's really strange is that delisting, they're going to get it doesn't happen overnight, right? What they'll do is the SEC will say, "Hey guys, we're going to delist you if you don't get your accounting standards in shape," right? And yeah. So it'll be, I guess we'll have to see. Like there could be more. They might be more strict, but from my understanding of the way the law was, or the rule was written for the delisting rules for that, is that they were going to give them like 6 months or a year to correct before they actually end up delisting them. So usually there's a process where you'll get the notice, then you have time to remedy, and then there's an appeal, and so it doesn't happen overnight. Unless something's changed and I'm not aware of it. So that's the other thing. If there is a notice, then watch for the appeal, which will bring hope and some short covering, and then there's an opportunity for a squeeze there. But I'm not an investor. I'm just looking for the opportunities. Okay, that's FNKO GSX. Wow, barely through the list. Halfway through, we're already 40 minutes in. Okay, GSX, same thing as before. We want to watch this 45 level. If they can clear 45, then it'll probably head back and squeeze maybe into this 55, 60 area. And then if it rejects 45, then I would expect it to move back into sub 40 and chop around between 30 to 40 while things are sorted out. And then watch out. If it does break this 28 to 30, it's going to get real ugly. I mean, I think I have to even go down to this 5-year daily, and it could break then this 26, 25, and if that breaks, it's flushing all the way down 18. Okay, so that's GSX. Let's take a look then at the next ticker, CarMax. Okay, so when things get dicey, used cars prices usually go up, and so they're reporting. They're sitting here near highs. And so if the quarter, I'm kind of expecting them to have a good quarter, to be honest. My thinking is they're going to report well. Question is what's going to be the overall reaction from here. It's had a decent run If there's a big gap up after the report, then I would probably be looking to get short on it for some profit taking. Last year it dropped, but then it reclaimed and ran. So we'll just have to see. The key levels I'd be watching here is this support right here, 117, 105, probably 105, 106. And then the 200 will probably catch up right there. So, and then 100 for the downside. And then for the support, the other side of it, we have 126, 127, let's say 127, 127, 135. And then if we continue from here, we have a kind of a measured move, 136 down to 126, so 146 for the upside. Thanks, Ben. Yeah, so I would say we could target 146 for the upside on this leg. So if you can find a decent risk reward for the option, that's what I would be shooting for the for where it hits. And then if anything above, it could be huge. Actually, I'm going to take a look. So let's see this week. The April, what can I buy that can give me a 10x? 146 is or $1.25. Yeah, we would have needed to get in on this when it flushed on Thursday ahead of that ER. That would have been the thing to do, is to buy into that dip and grab probably the 135 calls. But at this point, I'm just gonna have to wait till after, or trade the commons after. Okay, CarMax is done. Let's do LIVX. Okay, so this is my first time looking at this chart, I believe. This was someone had sent a message to me saying, "Hey, I think with the NFT stuff, this could be another one." I believe that was the same situation. So this was a big rip dump. Got to keep an eye on this $4 to $5 area and see if that's if there's accumulation turns. This area right here turns into accumulation over the next week. Maybe then it can, and then if it can clear this $7 area, then it's going to do something stupid, right? Because this, in one way, it's right here. We have the double bottom here. We have a rip, but it's not really, to me, a blow off parabolic move yet, right? Definitely from volume, it is. There's a lot of selling into this big dip, rip, and then dump. We'll have to see how it plays out from here. But something to watch. I definitely think the risk reward long at 5, risking to fill 450 or something is probably not too bad, or 480. And then watch what happens if it clears the 7. It'll probably go crazy. Let's take one other thing we got to check on that is we want to see what is the float. It's actually pretty big, 75 million shares. So I don't know, I guess I'd be pretty cautious on this. Pretty big float. So kind of what I'm looking for is an NFT with where they have interest and it's got a low float. So you combine those to get some pretty big moves. All right, cool. Next is sorry, I lost my place. Okay, LULU. I've not traded LULU in a minute. Maybe like 8 months. I can't remember the last time I traded LULU. But retail has been running, and so and they are reporting. Assuming they report well, we should shoot over the 200 here at 335. That's what we could target. At least that to be tested, and then I'm assuming if good numbers, we'll clear the 200 and get back on track for 350 to 375. So upside targets 336, 350, Then let's see, what is this? 358, 375. And then the downside is 300 is 275, and then if it really is kind of bad, we're flushing into 227. We definitely got to watch this after ER. There's a lot of room and air here for some good opportunity if it's bad. Okay, that's Lulu. Let's move on. I'm going to try to speed things up a little bit here. Okay, MU. Again, chip maker dipped, recrossing the 50-day moving average. I'm sorry, I've been using the wrong chart when I was doing the levels, but I'm in the wrong screen, so you weren't seeing the mouse move. But sorry about that for the last few tickers. Okay, so for MU, a nice bounce here off the 80. We got some volume here, right here at 88, 88.50. If the semis do decide to lead and we have those other names running, then I think this, we've got this 95 high. I think we have a potential failed breakdown right here, which we can have strong reversals off of. See the support broke, came back up, recrossed the 50. We should at least see a retest of 92, 93, and then possibly a retest of 95. And if that clears, then we're looking at 95 measured move would take this to probably 105 to 110. Okay, that's MU. Roku. Okay, nice big flush out. I was hoping for a little more volume on the 300 break. I'd love to see it get to down to the 200 moving average, maybe even just 220 flush out, and then re-get long for a move back to the upside. I don't recall what their earnings was. I don't know if anybody does, but this is a pretty big drop from this last ER. And so we need to look for it and see a higher low in this. And if we do get the higher low, it could come back and start headed higher. The levels we want to watch, this 220, 225, the 257, 260 area, 295, 296. See this level, this right here, area right there from before. Then we have 320. That's a big level across at 320. I'm probably interested in grabbing some long, and then we have this 360, and then 390. Those are the key levels I'd be looking for near term. Okay, that's Roku. Let's do Riot. Okay, the Riot going to be. I was kind of expecting this now to start, like, as Bitcoin gets steady again, for Riot to fade. But if Bitcoin rallies back, and starts breaking 60, 65, okay, I haven't looked at it, what the current price is. Maybe it's already there, who knows. But if it clears that 65, 70K, then we're probably going to have this come back to and retest the 67, 70, and maybe even go higher. Again, there is no reason Riot deserves this valuation. It is definitely from their revenue and the current valuation of the ticker. It's mostly just, I think, being used as a proxy for Bitcoin trading, and it's rangy. And so just watch out. It looks like we have an ER coming here on the 29th. I'm kind of expecting it to dump after that ER, but so could be a lot of people, and it could be trapping shorts right now. So I would say I just playing it by ear. Nothing I'm positioning for. Definitely once this 40 breaks, it can definitely come back to 25s, 20 to 25 area, maybe in 30. And if this continues to hold and squeeze back and clear this 57, 58 level, then the next we're looking at is the 68 and then 80. Okay, so SEER. Okay, so this is a recent IPO and first time they're reporting. So when you have a new IPO, the first report is really, really important. So if they blow this out of the water, this is going to go 55 plus. Let me phrase that. It should go 55 plus. And possibly go as high, 70 plus. And so we'll have to see, right? So just really going to depend on how that earnings is, and if it's crap, and it's going to break this 38 and shit show. So definitely keep this on radar, and we'll see how that goes. Square, SQ. Okay, I'm bringing this back on the list because we are at a key support level. This 200, this 202, to me, like this 195 under 200 is a no-brainer long for Square. But if Bitcoin craps and market craps, this could come back down into the 200 at the 180 area. I definitely would be interested for a long here. Again, Square and everything they're doing with crypto plus getting in the banking stuff long term, I think Square for a long I like. So the levels I'm watching for this are 200, 201, this 195, 185 right here, the 200-day moving average. Those are the areas I'd be interested on to enter for maybe starter swing long, like no-brainer spots. And then risking to a break of probably 175. And then also then over this 235 on the 50-day moving average, and 252. And then above that, it opens up back up into the 280 plus. So that's Square. We did TAL. So let's move on, and we're going to do Tesla. I'm just going to grab something to drink real quick. Sorry. Okay, Tesla. This is, it's not the best looking chart for them. We have the one drop, we have the second drop, we have the third drop. So for Tesla, this needs to turn into a higher low. This 590, 600 area needs to turn into a higher low to bring back the upside. If it does break, then we're looking at a retest of the 550 level and probably come down into the 500, 480, 500 for the 200-day moving average. And if that breaks down to this 430, 450, right? And if you look historically, you're like, no way, Tesla can do that. Tesla has a history of doing near 50% retracements. So it goes down to 200. You can see here, this level right here came down to 75. Came here down to here. So it wasn't quite 50% this last time. So from, I think it was like 60% or something like that. So now we're kind of doing the same situation right here. So we're down here. This is in theory, this should be our recent low, and this should be our higher low. Just because of the way Tesla likes to move, right? You can see how it did this big flush, rip, dropped, and came. Now, one thing that's a bit different about now is we're closer to this setup a little bit right here because we're under the 50-day moving average, right? And so if this needs to do the higher low and get back on track for the upside, because the other grinds, it's always bounced off the 50, right, pretty quickly. This time we're not so much there. there's a lot of risk and heaviness, or with all the other EV makers coming in, or car makers getting into EV. There's a little more, probably a little more concern. And this was a huge rally, right, in the last year. So the key levels we're looking at is this 400, the 460, 500, the 5, it'd probably be like roughly 550, 555. This our 600 right here that we just had, which should be, so those are the downside levels. Then the upside that we're looking at is the 660, 700, 750. Okay, so that's Tesla. Oh, darn it, guys. I keep doing my other chart. I got to hide that chart. Sorry about that. Let's go back. These are my two charts, and I looked at my main chart, which I have my other video about how I have my 6 charts set up, and I keep doing it on there. Thank you, Helen, for pointing that out. So let's go back, and we'll do the same levels again. So what we're looking at here is this 450 right here, even maybe 430. We then have that 500 right here, our 550, 555 right here, the 600, which should be our higher low, then the 700, 750, and then it can go back to whatever's above that. But what I was referring to earlier when I botched which chart, I was referring to the drops from like this level right here down to here, this push up here, the drop down into here, and the higher low. And so that's what I was referring to, how Tesla has a history of making these big drops, but then also recovering. And that what I'm likening this chart right here is to where we might be right here from a year ago, right? So we had that flush out, except that the one big difference is this actually hit the 200-day moving average. We haven't hit the 200 here. So that's a little bit of the unknown, and how things are a little bit different here between this one and this one right here. But risk reward, guys, it's not a bad risk reward on a big flush when it got down into the 600s to go for a long. 620 is still not a bad risk reward if this turns into a higher low and it dips and holds 615 going long for the upside from here. It's probably not a bad risk reward. And then if it breaks, it's okay. And then look for if it breaks 600, it probably wants to go back, and it may want to go back and retest the 550 and 500 levels. In which case, we'll have another we'll have a short opportunity this way, and then a long opportunity off of this, a big long opportunity off this area for the up if it gets down here. And so what we really want to do, or what I'm always looking for, is where's the opportunities where the volume will kind of trigger big moves, and where's decent risk reward. So this, we probably have 5 points of risk to get long off the 620 risking versus 615, 618. That would be one spot, and then if 615 breaks, and 620 turns in, or this level right here turns into resistance, and it can't, maybe it goes to test 630 again, and then break 618, can probably go for a short to see what happens down this way. So watch those levels that I mentioned earlier, and then on the watch list I'll have a closer view for each day. Okay, so that's Tesla. TSM. So this got hammered, double hammer, one from the Intel news and second from the market flush. But I don't believe their contracts are going to go anywhere, nowhere in the near term, and there's still a chips supply shortage, so they're probably completely booked and will continue to be. They have an ER reporting here in mid-April, and I think we could get a run up into the ER. So I like this for a long. So the levels that we got to keep an eye on is this 108, 108.50, 113.80, this 120, and then we're looking at this 125, 126 for the 50-day reclaim of this. Will probably bring at least this 135 to be retested. So we'll see. I mean, it's again, we've had the big run. We have had some consolidation, but I do think that we could get a run up at least to retest the 125s. 125s, maybe even 135 ahead of ER from here. Okay, next ticker we have two more left. WKEY, another NFT play. You can look at this craziness right here. Big rip, double top, became flushed and got sold. So we got to see if this 13, 14 level holds. Otherwise, we want to watch for dips into this 12 to 13 area to see if it dips and holds that. We need to see this higher low establish. I mean, not higher low, but retest either of this previous support or this previous resistance, right around here. But this 13 at 1370, 1380 should be a decent support. And if this continues to get bought, then this could continue much higher in coming weeks with the whole NFT craze. Okay, that's WKEY. And final ticker, ZM. Okay, so this is, I guess, an anti-opening play, possibly. So with the reopening, Zoom has been come down. We have a potential double bottom failed breakdown play here off the 308, and then if it can reclaim 337, then it can start moving higher. But otherwise, I'm kind of inclined for a short. But you got to do it into strength. So it'd be nice if it pushed into the 368, 370, failed, and then came back, broke this 330 for a flush back down into this. I'd like to see. I think it could come down. I really like 280, 250, and then 200. It just, the valuation on this is crazy high, and this was all that growth in COVID side. Now this is the other side of it. I haven't gone through to figure out what should the company be worth. I don't know. But it's way, I mean, at these prices over here compared to the revenue, was definitely like way out of whack. So let's just go through the levels and see where people will potentially buy and sell. So on the downside, I think this 235, 250 area, and 275. Obviously, the 300 is a big spot. 300, 305 area, and it's held. And then for the upside, we're looking at this 335, 350, probably 355, 375. And if it can clear that 375, then we got that the 425 and then 450. Okay, and that's the last ticker. And we just went over about 1 hour. All right, I hope this was a helpful session to everyone. Anyone have questions on any of the tickers that we went over? And are you seeing the yeah, so sorry, for next time I'll have to do better about remembering to hide my other charts so that I don't move the mouse on those other charts instead of these right here. Basically, I have a 6 chart window that has multiple time frames, including the daily, and so that's why I was looking at the daily, but I was looking at that one and not this one. So really, really sorry about that, guys. It'll be on the watch list. I don't do it till the morning, so it'll depend on what the pre-market looks like and what's moving. But I know I will be watching GSX. I will be watching BIDU for sure, and SPY. Oh, Helen, you just send me a direct message, or just in regular trade room, just tag me. I'll see in the BBS trade room. You can just do @Spectre, and I might not reply right away, but usually at least once or twice a week, not a week, a day. I'll search for messages with my name on it, so I can reply. Okay, anyways, thank you, everyone. I hope, again, this was helpful. And I will see everyone bright and early tomorrow. Have a great day and enjoy the rest of your weekend.